delegation is dispatched to either Doha or Cairo for more talks is a good sign, but it all depends on what kind of an authority or mandate this delegation has with it. We know that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu changed the makeup of the Israeli delegation. Now it's headed by Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs and a close confidant to Prime Minister Netanyahu, Ron Dermer, who's someone that doesn't really believe that Israel should move to the second phase. And this has been somewhat of a position for Israel lately, which is to extend the current first phase of the three-phase ceasefire deal as long as they can in an attempt to release more captives. But what we know at this time, that an Israeli delegation did arrive in Cairo on Thursday evening. They've already held meetings with the Qatari and the Egyptian delegation, as well as an American one that is present also in Cairo. It's an attempt to see how the negotiations can be restarted, so to speak. It's already late by a month. It was supposed to start on February the 3rd, but at that time, Netanyahu delayed sending a delegation to Doha until after his meeting with President Donald Trump. That happened only once. He dispatched a mid-level delegation that went to Doha to listen more than anything else, and also attempted to extend the current phase of the ceasefire deal. Now, this phase is supposed to end officially on March 1st, this coming Saturday. No more exchange of Israeli captives for Palestinian prisoners and detainees. That all ended on Thursday, so it's unofficially over, but it'll be officially over on Saturday after 42 days. Now, we're waiting for Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff to arrive in the region on his Middle East tour, which was supposed to start on Wednesday evening. That was also delayed because there was no movement on the exchange of the latest group of Israeli captives. That was brokered by Egypt. That crisis was resolved on Wednesday night late, and we saw the last group of Palestinian prisoners released on Thursday morning. Now, Netanyahu is under tremendous pressure, Oscar, from his right-wing ministers in his government. And here we're talking mainly about Bezalel Smotrich and others who have threatened to pull out of the government if Israel does not resume the war in Gaza, and if it moves to the second phase. And why the second phase is important, and it's much more complicated than the first one, which was relatively easier to get underway, even though there were so many obstacles and crises. It was mired by several obstacles and crises, to be quite honest with you. They were resolved after mediators intervened, but the importance of the second phase comes because Israel, according to the ceasefire deal, must withdraw its troops from the Philadelphia corridor and eventually declare an end to the war in Gaza, and eventually also within the second phase, which is supposed to last 42 days also, is supposed to pull all of its troops out of the Gaza Strip. That's something that Netanyahu isn't really interested in. All this is happening as President Donald Trump is still insisting on ethnically cleansing Palestinians from the coastal enclave. He wants to own Gaza and build a Riviera-like projects there. But we are also looking forward to March 4th, next Tuesday, when an emergency Arab summit is supposed to take place in Cairo, also to formulate a counter plan, so to speak. So when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt meets with President Trump at a later date, he will introduce it to him. But at this point, the next phase is still up in the air. When it's going to start, no one knows. But the delegations are supposed to be continuing to meet not only on Thursday night, but also tomorrow on Friday.